Welcome. Welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to discuss about history of NSS. So before going to know about the NSS and more about NSS, why NSS is introduced for students, we should know history of NSS. So without delay, we will go straight away. What is the history? In the history, I'm divided in 7 main important points. The how NSS came into the existence and who is background of this, who is worked to bring the NSS into students community. In this first one, we are going to talk about, so when NSS is in India, you go back, the Gandhiji is the main person behind this, the father of the nation. He is strongly believed that this national service scheme, NSS, is need for the students community so that students can get the knowledge about the community. For that reason, he tried impress upon a students audience. What he did, he should always saying that social responsibility need to feel by any student or any of the citizen of the country. Sometimes non-educators who are not studying, they are not able to access this. For that reason, NSS through, they want to sensitize social responsibility of the students. And next, we are talking on that first duty of a students should be service of the people who are in need. Why? Because generally we can say the rural background who are suffering a lot, for them, by identifying a student community, a student who is taken a volunteership, they need to identify and they need to help the rural people and remote place people. For that, they are going to work for the nation to provide the goods and services which is needed for society. Example, you take agriculture farmers are there. They are producing the vegetables, milk, rice, etc. If they are facing any problem, as a students, as a part of the NSS community service, they are visiting the villages, identifying the troubles in the agriculture. They are giving a solution for them by using their knowledge. They are giving knowledge which they studied and what they required, what problem they are facing. This is possible when there is a connection established. Next, they are going to talk about you need to have a contact with the community. Why? Because only institution will not provide you entire overview, entire 360-degree knowledge for any of these students. That's why students need to expose outside the society. Classroom learnings, after learning classroom, they need to expose in the society to know the community what is happening. With their knowledge, either they can do anything, help to the community by doing research, by doing any work on project work on the problem like this. That's why the positive environment, something positive, so that life of the villagers might be raised to higher materials and morals. Why this has happened? This is the first area Gandhiji strongly believed there should be connectivity between the students and the teachers to the community. Why? Because they are educating, they are learning, teachers are educating to the students, students are learning, and whatever they learn, and they have to learn the problems of the society. Once they learn the problems of the society, this classroom knowledge, they will apply on that problem. Then they are going to work on the research on the solution for that problem that is going to help for the country. When we are going for second history point, that is post-independence, when it is happened, the era of post-independence, social service for the students, both educational reform stamp they said that improve the quality of education manpower. So social service is introducing in the education. It is going to be helpful in the educational reforms time they discuss. Next is University Grants Commission. We can call in shortcut UGC. At the time, headed by the Dr. Radhakrishnan, recommended introducing of National Service Scheme in the academic institution. As a voluntarily, it is not compulsory. Now you are studying a subject, this is a mandatory subject like that, it is no one going to give you. NSS, you need to be voluntarily involved. So in the view of developing a connection between the healthy contact between the students and teachers, and one side this is, and next is establishing the constructive linkage between the campus and community on another side. So institution to community connection and teachers and students connection. So student to teacher both together need to go to community, they need to study about the community. So for that reason, this is the whenever that Dr. Radhakrishnan for the UGC is the apex body for the all the educational institution. At the time when he is heading, he is introduced this, he expecting two things. One is student teacher between the healthy contacts means closely they both need to work together. And second thing, institution need to be communicate with the community, and that is another hand. This is the one more history point for the NSS. Now coming to the third point. When you talk about here, so Central Advisory Board of Education, CABE, it is going to done a meeting in January 1950. In that, what is happened, they discussed various points in that, and they studied, and all the countries who are working on the social service related things, and the board is recommended that students should devote some time to the manual work as a voluntarily basis. So teachers should also associated with them. So such work. Now what is happened here? You need to remember the board, suppose any committee will be going to appoint to give the view and report on that. So that when the meeting is held by Central Advisory Board of Education, they are going to say that they are recommended that students should devote some time. They have to spend some time for the rural work. That rural work should be, teachers should also associated with them, because only students going there, lot of problems will be faced. Sometimes the students are the young kids, whenever they will get a problem, whenever they will get any hurdle, as a teacher, as a mentor, they need to help them. That's why both should engage into this activity. And in the draft, the first 5-year plan adopted by the Government of India 1952, so the social and labor service for the student, 1 year was further stressed. So 1 year they need to go, and certain hours they need to spend for the society. When it is going on, this is going on, campus working like a projects, village adoption and village adoption scheme, and they want to work for some project in the community by various educational institutions. In 1958, the Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in his letter to the chief ministers of the all, is saying that the idea of having social service as a prerequisites for the graduation. So they said that all graduate students who are there, the social service is very important for them to work for the project in the society. Real-time problem, they can get it like that. He is insisted and written letter to the all the ministers. So in the same way, when we are going for the director to the Minister of Education to formulate a suitable scheme for the introduced national service scheme in the academic institution, the further they want to formally formulate a suitable scheme, which scheme is better, how it should be launched, how it should be given to them. This is all going to be done in the past history. Now we are going to talk about the next fourth point, which is come to the history related. In 1959, the draft outline, whatever the scheme they want to launch before the educational minister conference. The conference was the unanimously they are the urgent need for the trying out of the workable scheme for the national service scheme. Finally, that is done. So there, what is happening? The objective of the scheme were the to be saying that essential to the integrate social service with the educational process as early as possible. So it is essential, and it need to as early as possible. It need to be introduced in the educational, along with social service, including in educational sector. They insisted. The conference suggested that appointment of committee to work out the details of the proposal, like a pilot project, how this is going to be taken in forward. So in this regard, what they did, appointing the committee recommendations, the National Service Committee, which were formed for this, appointed under the chairmanship of Dr. C.D. Deshmukh on August 28, 1959, to make the concrete suggestions on this direction. So finally, a committee is formed. Committee is going to bring all the inputs to launch the NSS into the academy students' purpose. The committee recommended that national service scheme for a period of 9 months to a year may be going to be made compulsory for all the students to complete high school education and intended to enroll themselves in the college or a university. So the school level and junior level, degree level, any level, there should be a compulsory. One option will be given for student. They can voluntarily join in that. They can utilize that NSS and they can work for the project. They work for the community. They can develop themselves also. That is done in the committee recommendation. The scheme was whenever they are including some military training, social service, manual labor, general education, the recommendation of the committee should not be accepted because of its financial implication and difficulties in the implementation. So whenever any scheme they want to launch, first of all, government need to be run because it is a social service scheme and introduced by central government. It is free of cost, need to be given to the students community. For that reason, budget need to be allocated and central level onwards, budget should be allocated and given to execute this all. So when finally, because of the implementation part, it's got difficulties with the financial implications. So once that is done, and next history point when we talk in 1960, the instance of Government of India, Professor K.G. Said Danai studied the national service by students implemented in several countries of the world and submitted his report under the title of National Service for the Youth to the government with a number of recommendations that it is saying that India to develop a feasible scheme for social service by the students. He clearly mentioned in that his report. It was also recommended that social service campuses should be open to students as well as the non-students with the prescribed age group for the better interrelationships. That's why only students getting benefit means non-student how they can access. They are recommended non-student also. For that reason, NYKS National NYKS National Yuva Kendra Sangatan. So there that is meant for non-student and NSS meant for students. That is also social service formed by Government of India. So here the Education Commission headed by Dr. D.S. Kotari in 64 to 66 between, he recommended that students at all the stages of education should associated with some form of social service. Any type of social service, they need to be involved in like that. The Educational Commission also, the headed person, he is given his opinion also. And this was taken into account by state education ministers during their conference in April 1967. And what he said, he recommended that university stage students should be permitted to join in NSS, NCC, NSS, and which was already exist scheme as a voluntarily basis. And an alternative to this could also offer for the new program called the National Service Scheme. So when NSS, NCC also there for the students, and NCC also parallelly offered to the students when they are studying in their education, and they are going to talk about they should be exempted when they are going to launching this new program called National Service Scheme. There they are literally they said that allowed to join the another scheme called the National Sports Organization. So NCC, NSS, NSO. So National Sports Organization also launched for the students. NCC also exists in the and NSS also there. These three options are provided for the students to get the benefit. In the view of the needed to give priority to the development of sports authority, the NSO is developed, and social service purpose NSS also is developed. Now history part we are talking about. Sixth history point is we are talking about the Vice Chancellor Conference in September 1969. Now we came to the end. Now you can see here how NSS is taken five steps. History we are already seen how it is gradually. Everybody is insisting, everybody is recommending, everybody is following up. Now, Vice Chancellor Conference in September 1969 welcomed this recommendation and suggested that special committee of Vice Chancellor should be set up to examine the questions in detail. All this examining the NSS recommendation report, then they need to go forward. In this national policy, in the statement of national policy on the education, Government of India, it was laid down that work experience and national service should be an integral part of education. That must be there inside the education. They are insisted, and they must be included in educational policy. Now we are educational policy 2020 also, there are a lot of points included like this. So in May 1969, a conference for the students representatives of the university and institutions for higher learning, they are conducted this one, and by the Ministry of Education and UGC, University Grants Commission, and they are declared that national service could be a powerful instrument for national integration. So national integration and national building, NSS also a powerful instrument. Everybody came to a conclude in that conference. And when it could be used in introducing urban students to rural life project of the then when they want to do the project in the rural, and urban students come to here, and urban students can go to work for the project onto rural. So like this undertaken whenever they want to student want to community to uplift the nations, they want to work for the where rural area, where the backward area, where the undeveloped area, students will go and pick up the problem, and they will work on that like a project, like a giving solution for them by using their knowledge of academy. So details was soon worked out. The planning commission sanctioned the outlay budget for 5 crores of national service scheme during that. So first initial time only itself 5 crores for the NSS, it is budget is allocated to launch the NSS. The fourth 5-year plan, it was stipulated that NSS program should be started as a pilot project in selected institution and university. Initially, they selected some of the universities, some of the institution. There they launched as a pilot project. So they want to know the results by doing by taking a real-time feedback. They want to do modification. They want to launch in the India level in all the institution. This is the one more milestone in the history. The coming to the last history point about the NSS. Here we are going to talk about in September 24, 1969, the Union Minister, the Union Education Minister, Dr. V.K.R.V. Rao. officially launched the NSS program initially in 37 universities covering all the states. When they are going to be given in the chief minister's states for their cooperation and help, they are going to request it. While launching, they are asked the chief ministers and state of particular states their cooperation to launch and implement of this. That's why NSS Day is celebrated on September 24th every year. Because 1969 September 24th, officially NSS is launched initially 37 universities. And it was appropriate that the program was started during the Gandhi centenary year. It was Gandhiji who was inspired the Indian youth to participate in the movement of Indian independence and the social upliftment of the underdone, and where there are the poor people, where there the inequalities are there. For that reason, Gandhiji is also is the backbone and who is the first initially started. So that's why NSS is a linkage with the Gandhiji also. Education through service is the purpose of the NSS. Education through service. When you are educating and yourself, you need to do some service activity in the communities where communities are there. NSS was launched in 1637 university. Already we discussed initially 40,000 volunteer, and has now spread over the 657 universities and 51 plus 2 councils and directorate covering 20,669 colleges, technical institution, and 11,988 senior secondary schools. This is the NSS when they are launched, and at the time the backstory of the and the history of the NSS. The NSS was inspired by the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, who believed in the importance of selfless service and the idea of education through service. So I think in this backstory and in this history of the NSS, whatever we discussed till now, and this is all the points whatever we discussed. It is not just like that one day or one night or one person not done anything on this. It is a continuously, rigorously, the persons behind this beginning onwards. It is very important, very useful for the NSS, is very useful for the society. Students need to be take part. Like that, there are the lot of rigorous background work is done. Finally, 1969, September 24th, NSS officially launched. Now every institution and every organization and universities, institutions, schools, secondary education, students are getting benefit with the NSS services and NSS scheme benefits. They are getting it, and they're also rendering service. They are giving service to the villages, rural people. So in the next video, we are going to talk about the NSS related. Now you know, everybody knows what is the history behind the NSS and how it is came into the existence. Thank you.